This is Jason Hardy talking today about the CRM project that I put together for Fort Hays State University as a proof of concept. This proof of concept was primarily driven to allow better interaction between students and faculty and facilitating the information exchange of what courses am I involved in, how am I doing as far as my progress on my degree, and allowing for just better interaction management in general. In addition to that, giving students clear access to their data, as well as encouraging student to student, as well as student to staff communications outside of the discussion boards or email. And finally, in addition to having successfully executed this project, we managed to stay within 5% of budget. So objective 1 was getting the CRM structure put into place, which is your tables, your high-level functionality, and getting all of the bits working together, such as the user interface, making sure that the data is enforceable, items along those lines, as well as getting basic campaigns and such set up. Here is a high-level ERD of the table structure. The second part of the objective was getting the portal set up, the pages to handle email communication management, as well as the degree summary set up, and also get a view into courses and classes/sections. One additional thing to note is that the class/section is very limited in terms of data. So this is due to two parts. One part is Salesforce only allows a 5 megabyte limit on data storage and development instances, and I pretty much tapped that out with just the courses. And two, the information isn't in an easy to obtain place like you can get the courses. So the actual class and sections, which is, you have 10 versions of this class for this term, that information isn't available to me. If I can get access to it, we can create a much better system in which to judge these kinds of things. The degree summary gives a more streamlined HTML5 interface for the degree summary. It's utilizing Bootstrap, which allows you to do very nice looking CSS without having to do the CSS. And if you would like to take it for a test drive, here's the URL for the demo, as well as a couple of usernames and passwords. Here's a screenshot of what the degree summary looks like. The pane on the left has student profile, which has some basic information about the student, and the credit hour summary has information on the GPA, what the enrollment hours look like, and how many hour deficiencies that you have going towards the completion of the degree in question. The degree summary is accordion based, so as you click on each of the menu groups, it's going to pop down and give you more information. The status icons will change depending on whether or not you've completed that particular requirement. It will also give you an idea of the grade information that you got when you completed it. For the email subscription list management piece, that's going to allow students to opt in or opt out of communications from Fort Hays, allowing for a better targeted email campaign, so that way students aren't getting bombarded with information that they may or may not necessarily care about. As a virtual student, there are a lot of on-campus communications that go out that have no relevance to me, so and I know this is a common frustration that's felt by many of the other virtual students, so I think that this would be a definite advantage. And here's what the page looks like. Now, an interesting factor about Salesforce is the fact that the way that email lists are stored are called campaigns. Now, campaign members are designed to stay in the system as associated with that campaign. Now, what we can do is provide an unsubscribe feature, but we're not actually going to delete the records. So as we check the box to unsubscribe, it's just going to have that box there is unsubscribed. So that way the user knows that, hey, I'm not going to be getting this email anymore. Now, if there are new campaigns that they're not attached to, those will be in the available subscriptions area. Again, going back to my note on the brevity of the course/sections, we can see that the broken down lists of available options are kind of low. However, we can infer what this would sort of look like. If I can get access to additional data, I can provide a better interface for this in the phase 2 or phase 3. The courses, again, we've done a breakdown through list views by department, so that way you can see what courses are currently available by department. The third objective was to get a better communication channel, or an additional communication channel opened up for student to student and student to staff. And Salesforce has a feature called Chatter, which is similar to Twitter, that allows you to communicate readily with other users within the system. So by utilizing the Chatter system, students will be able to join essentially forums, follow other students, and get updates on what they're up to, as well as follow other teachers, or teachers can follow students to see what's going on with them through the Chatter community. And you can use your basic mentions and hashtags and all that jazz that you're used to with Twitter, as well as getting a summary of all the happenings that you're interested in. And one additional feature is the ability to search for students and other users through the Chatter directory. This is an example of a Chatter feed. As you can see, it looks pretty much like a Twitter page when you log in. That shows all the relevant information that you're following. This is what it looks like when you want to join a group, and it will give you the ability to join. There's also the option to make groups private, so that way if you wanted to create a group for with Chatter groups, again, as I touched on briefly before, you can post messages within these groups similar to forums. They can be public or private depending on what the owner's preference was when creating them. And you can send out invites and all that kind of stuff. The people search, it would give us the ability to find more relevant information for the students and allow the students to interact with each other a little bit more easily, similar to the student directory, but a little bit more user-friendly and searchable. Now, we're going to end on a budget note. We managed to stay within $300 of the original estimated budget. We went over budget due to the fact that we had to utilize Bootstrap for the degree summary, which caused a little bit of a rework. And the future phases can definitely be done, need some additional information, as well as access to production org to load the data into. Need to get a better idea of what we would want students to be able to do and not to do on the portal, as well as staff, what they're able to do in the CRM. Skin it a little bit more so it looks more like what students would expect Fort Hays items to look like. Additional integrations with the back office, as well as additional CRM functionality like support tickets, knowledge articles, and things along those lines. And with that, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the demo. Alright, here we are, and we're going to go ahead and just log in to the portal. And I had a bad password. Excuse me. Sorry about that. And this is our basic chatter page. If you wanted to send a message to somebody, boom, that message went directly to that person. You can also do private message. You can search for people. You can search for groups. You can create a new group. Here's where you can make it public or private. So chatter is a pretty neat piece of Salesforce functionality. Like I said, it's very reminiscent of Twitter. This is the courses tab that I was telling you about earlier. And see, we've got it all broken out by department. In the classes and sections portion, again, we've got it broken down by what courses were available for a particular semester. As I said earlier, due to Salesforce limitations, I only loaded in a very limited amount of information. In addition to, I didn't have the information readily available to me. Here's our email subscription page. Went ahead and unsubscribed from both of these. But if I wanted to opt into that particular mailing list, I can check it. Then I decide, oh, I don't want to receive that email. Uncheck it. Now, it does take a minute to get everything synced up in the back end, so that way the changes can actually take place. Due to the way that the Salesforce security model functions, there's actually a scheduled job in the background that takes care of subscribing and unsubscribing the users. Finally, the degree summary. Over here we have the student profile, which just has basic information. GPA, hour deficiencies. Now the hour deficiencies, these are going to dynamically update based off of what requirements the user has met. So in this particular case, it's only showing areas where there are deficiencies. As you can see, this particular section is not over here because those requirements have been met. As you can see, it's nice and modern feeling, as well as having a Fort Hayes look and feel to it. I think everything looks really nice. Well, I thank you for your time and attention, and I hope you have a great holiday. Signing off.